Welcome to Soular Expression Podcast, the podcast for your soul. With me, Brian, but you can call me whoever you want because I really don't give a damn. And we do have a special guest, but she just disappeared on me. I think I might have scared her away already. Jessica, are you there? Oh, she disappeared on me, folks. Let's see. Can we get her back? There she is.
There I am. Okay.
They try to disappear on me, pulling magic tricks.
Look, you got to put yourself in D&D when you started recording so that while you are recording, people not calling, messing
Thanks.
up the video.
You are correct about that. I just had to do the same thing. So how are you
I
doing today?
am good. I am good. How about you?
Pretty wonderful. And for those who don't know, me and Jessica met randomly at Podfest. I was sitting on the sofa trying to figure some stuff out for, I think it was Buzzsprout. And you sat down and we just started talking. And what we started talking about, because I love your podcast and what the basis behind it. So I was like, man, I got to get her on to talk with her. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. I'm Jessica Holley, founder of Everybody Can't Go LLC. The company was founded from a book that I decided to write where I was sharing my story of what it looks like when you start to level up and you have like the tangible results of actually putting in that work on a growth journey. And you find that there are changing relationship dynamics when that comes about. And so I decided to share my story, my lessons learned, and the book became a brand, it became a podcast, and now we're here. It's a whole movement at this point.
That is awesome that something so small that started for something so small can become something so big and beautiful. So
Yes,
so
yes,
tell
for
us
sure.
a little bit about your story of why everybody can't go.
Okay, essentially, you have those groups of friends that you all grow up together. You either meet in school, meet in college, and y'all like these. And so you think, oh, we about to do life together, we growing up together, we gonna level up together. And I'm a very communal person. I am one of those like, let me gather everybody, kumbaya, all of that stuff. I'm all about the collective, seeing how can I pour into other people. I'm a giver. At the time I'm thinking all you got to do is be a good person, treat others the way that you would like to be treated. All that stuff that our grandmas and them taught us at church. And I thought that that's all that friendships and relationships require. That because if it's a given for me to put that out, it's a given that I get that back. However, what I came to find was that as I went on my own growth journey and I started to level up, everybody always talking about, I'm about to level up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Everybody always talking about what they about to do. The thing that changes is when you are actually about that action and all of that growth mindset stuff that it sounds good to talk about, when you actually be about that and you live that out, it's one level there where people like, oh, okay, you trying to do your little that. But then you get to the point where your life reflects tangible results of that work that you put in. People are seeing your level up. It's not just, you running out, screaming from the rafters, like, oh, I'm about to level up, y'all. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like I actually just was quiet, put my head down, and did the work that I needed to do. But the closer that I got to my goals and dreams, the more I found that some of my closest friends were starting to act different. And everything came to a head one day in just this big explosive argument, a bunch of drama, foolishness. Think Real Housewives or the fake Real Housewives of insert city here. And like that's literally what it was like. And
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, where is all of this coming from? Like, where's the animosity coming from? Like, did I say something or do something that offended you? Like, what's up? What's the problem? And it was just a tirade, just a verbal attack, doxing involved, cyberbullying involved, and just a bunch of foolishness. And at the end of the day, I had to come to the realization that I'm all about accountability and self-assessment. And so I don't have a problem with if I did something wrong, I will apologize, assess my behavior, correct my behavior if and when needed. And so all I was looking for were places to get to a solution, places where I can improve myself, improve my behavior. And what I found was I really had to dig deep and realize there wasn't anything that I did. There wasn't anything that I said. The problem was, when have you ever met a person that came to you and said, Brian, I see what you're doing out here, my guy. You leveling up. I see you doing big things. I'm feeling animosity towards you because I'm jealous of your progress. I'm jealous of what you're doing, man. And I wanted to get that off my chest because I love you, but I feel a certain type of way about that because your growth is making me feel a certain way about myself. And it don't feel good. And at the end of the day, I'm still waiting on somebody to tell me that they met a person that's big enough to have that real talk with them because I am at this point trying to pay somebody to have that experience because that just ain't the
That I wish that
reality.
was me. Damn, I wish I had that experience so I could get some money. Because yeah, people do not accept it and come to you in a vulnerable position like that because it takes growth. You have to grow to be able to say something like that to even have that type of thought
Hmm.
because people don't even have that thought to say, okay, your growth is triggering something in me that makes me uncomfortable with you. So that's and it's big for you to realize that and understand that that's what was going on. But once you get to a certain mindset, you start to understand and see that those type of things happening from your internal growth, and it's not even an external thing because that comes later on down the line. Before you have to grow internal before the external, so people see it well ahead of time. So how
Right.
did you manage to handle those situations?
Well, because I was just so confused at the way everything went down for my version of Everybody Can't Go. Um, I kind of, went back and forth for a minute. My mind automatically goes to solution mode. We weren't getting to a solution or a resolution. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this Twitter finger thing with you. You know my phone number. You know where I live. You know where to find me. So if we're going to have this conversation this way, then go ahead and pull up. Nobody ever pulled up because there wasn't really a conversation to be had. It was foolishness. And I had already decided and made it clear. That was the first boundary that I set before I even knew what boundaries actually were. I set a boundary in place. I'm not doing this over the phone. I'm not doing this on the internet. We can either do this face to face or I'm not doing anything. And once, you know, nobody wanted to do anything face to face. They just wanted to talk and, hide behind screens, hide behind phones, do that type of thing. And so for me there, it was done. I never blocked anybody, never blocked them from social media, from my phone. My phone number has not changed since high school. We ain't gonna say how long ago that was. But I made sure that I left myself open that if we were going to come to a resolution and have that real heart to heart talk about, what actually is the problem here, I made sure that I was always available for it. But I came to my conclusion just through my own coaching, not me coaching myself, but through me partaking in coaching programs, in personal development programs, and focusing on myself and actually digging deep and looking at everything that I could have possibly done wrong. Not to another person, but every wrong choice that I could have made for myself. I had to go back and look at, well, what were some of the red flags in the relationships? What were some times that I put on my cape so that I could save everybody else, but I probably should have left them where they were at? And at one point, it was either a Bible study or a sermon, where the pastor was talking about, are you playing God in somebody else's life? And I just felt super convicted about it. I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, I thought I was helping. if you need help, I'm gonna help you. But I just felt convicted so strongly after listening to the message that it made me go back and think about all of those times that I was helping people out of situations that if I had left them right there, that might have been the time that it was supposed to be them and God dealing with something because they weren't able to grow. It's the same thing as teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever. But if you give him fish, he only gonna eat for that day. And I'm like, well, dang, how many times was I helping out so much that I may have robbed somebody else of the opportunity to actually learn to fish? If I'm always there to get you out of some BS every time you do something stupid, when you gonna stop doing stupid stuff? And I mean, sometimes that's just other people's journey. It's been over a decade at this point. Some of that same stupid stuff I was saving people from, guess what they still doing? That same stupid stuff. So it was never for me to be casting my pearls as swine, helping someone who never wanted the help, they wanted a handout. For me,
Yeah,
quote unquote,
definitely.
helping people who are takers. And that's their MO in life, to take from other people, to be in parasitic relationships. And it was up to me to remove myself from that situation. And once I was out of that type of what I thought was friendship, make sure that I didn't get into additional friendships like that where it was just a give and take, me giving and them taking.
Yeah. And those relationships, like you said, taught you boundaries and help you set those boundaries. And now you know for the next relationships that evolve in your life, what you will and won't accept from people. And
Hmm.
the thing about, like you say, everybody can't go is that you want the people that you love and have grown with to be able to go with you. But if they don't see that in themselves, there's not much you can do besides continue to grow and try and be a, I wouldn't even say a role model or even an inspiration, but just be a, I guess, a guide to
Hmm.
showing them the possibilities of what can happen. Because, like I say, you want those who have been there during certain times to go with you. But like I say, they all can't because everybody's not built the same way. And this specific journey that you go on is one where you got to spend a lot of time in the dark. And
Hmm.
like I say, people are scared of that. They're scared to, go in that place like how they're scared of that because it's a lot of things that you don't want to see and don't want to deal with that can trigger you. So yeah, and it's like I said, it's very difficult because you want those people to go, like I said before. So like, so how does your podcast help to get that message across to those people who are struggling with letting go?
So, on my podcast, I walk people through step by step. We just do small things so that as soon as you're done listening to the episode, you can put it into action right then, as soon as you're done. You can grab a notepad or, just listen. The parts that resonate with you, take those things. And I talk about everybody can't go from all different aspects, all different ways that it can touch your life, all of the different ways that it can affect your behavior, the things that you can do different, and ways that you're able to go on your own growth journey in a way that is specific to you. So I do have guests and interviewees on to share their everybody can't go stories as well, because my story was just the beginning of the book, the beginning of the brand. Everyone doesn't experience like just a big ghetto drama filled mess when they have an everybody can't go experience. Sometimes it's a nice soft growing apart. Sometimes it's physically moving to a different geographical location and navigating those feelings. Sometimes it's just a quiet sadness that we aren't the way that we used to be, and moving into acceptance in a gentler way than what my experience was. And so for me, it's important to have other voices and other people to share their experience as well, because this isn't a one size fits all type of lesson. But I also don't want viewers to throw the baby out with the bathwater, eat the meat, spit the bones out, because there are things that you can take from each person's story. And of course, there's things that you can take from my solo episodes when I'm just walking viewers through different topics, talking about self-worth, enforcing boundaries. We talk about self care, healthy communication, which, that in itself, learning to communicate in a healthy way. You talking about we could have a whole pot of time for 2 years straight and still not be done. So, if those are the type of things that you are looking for, like that, that is what we talk through. Now, I keep it real, but I'm not too harsh. I'm not just on there cutting folks up, is always a way to present things and a way to say stuff. But sometimes y'all can tell from my facial expressions. That's why I made sure it was a video podcast as well. You don't just have to get it on audio. You can tell from my face when I'm about to say something that it's like, it ain't no nice way to say it, but it got to get out there so that we can get people
Mhm.
healing, growth, and tools to be able to build their dream life.
Definitely, because it's a process, and it's going to be
Hmm.
a never ending process. It's once you start it, you're going to work on it until you expire,
Hmm.
which is the beautiful thing because you always get to see growth from it. And eventually, those people that can't go may eventually grow themselves and can bring themselves up with you where you are. Which, and that's not even to say that we see ourselves as being better than anyone else. It's just a different level of healing that you experience, and you understand the work that went into it and how much it took and how easily it can be disrupted if you're not constantly in a certain mindset. So, like I say, it's a beautiful thing to talk about these things because a lot of people stay in the same positions because they don't want to leave people behind. And
Hmm.
if you want to become the best version of yourself, at times that's part of what you may have to do. So
Definitely.
it's
That is facts. And what I say to people when they're in that they're in that space in life where you're I can't even call it being complacent, because when you're complacent with being at a standstill in life, that's because you're choosing to be complacent. You want to stay in that same place. There's something different to be said about a person who you don't want to be in that same place, you don't want to be in that same space, but the only thing that's keeping you from your level up or from moving on is because you're staying for everybody else. But what about you? What about what you actually want? Everybody else around you, they can be perfectly happy with where you all are. And you're the only person in this group that you're just dying inside because you want to do more. You want more, but you're afraid to go ahead and step out and get your version of more or to fulfill your dreams and goals because you're afraid of leaving people behind. And it does get lonely. I say not lonely. You will have to go alone. When you go alone, that doesn't mean that you are lonely. That feeling of loneliness, that's another thing that has to be conquered while you're on that growth journey. Because if you don't pay attention to what you're thinking about, you will claim that. You'll claim like it's lonely at the top. No, no, it's not. It's not. If you're claiming that emotion and that's what you're holding on to, instead of letting go of that feeling of loneliness and letting go of claiming that you're lonely, you're just alone. And while you're alone and in isolation, you got two choices. You can put all your energy on that loneliness, that feeling, or you can use that time at isolation to your advantage. You can be learning what are some of the things that you need to do that you can only do when you by yourself. You can't be in a crowd of people. I don't know, writing a paper, writing a dissertation with just a bunch of noise and stuff around you. I mean, think about trying to write a paper or write an article while you sitting in the middle of a club. Like, come on, that's something that you need a specific environment. You need a certain type of containment. Even if you are listening to music, you need a certain type of music that it just does it for you to get your creative juices flowing, to get like your mind in that space so that you're able to create. And that is what I encourage people to do during their time of isolation while they are alone. And I mean, you been with yourself since the day you was born. You
I
do
only
at some
one.
point, you got to get used to being with yourself without the distraction of everybody else. If you don't get used to being with yourself, how are you ever going to get to really loving yourself at your deepest inner core? How are you able to ever reach back to that inner child that we all have to reach back and heal some things for him or her or they, whatever you want to call it? Like, how are you going to reach back to that kid if you can't even spend time with yourself? How you going to talk to old self so that you can work on becoming new self if you can't just sit there in solace with self of right now?
And
It has to be done.
isolation is the perfect time to really start to get to know who you are and
Mhm.
what you are. And you said something that I so heavily believe in, and that's tapping into your creativity and your passion, because that will unlock so much within you that you didn't even know existed inside of you. But you have to isolate and tap into that. You have to use that as your outlet in your isolation. Because like me, I have tons of things that I'm passionate about, and I act on as many of them as I can at one time. Like if I tell you all the things I'm doing right now, you're like, you know how they say Jamaicans have so many jobs. You think I'm like a 10 times Jamaican over because like I just love to create and I'm always and that's kind of what happened while we were a bit late getting started because I was outside in the garage in my makeshift music studio trying to work on some things. So it's just creation is a beautiful process and it's part of the growth because from your isolation and your growth, you've created your own brand. So what's next for you with your brand and what you have creating? Because everybody can't go with something that a lot of people can latch on to. So what's next for you with that?
So, coming up next for me, when I wrote the book initially, my coaches had me to put publishing the book on pause so that I could be ethically and socially responsible and not just introduce you guys to the book and say, all right, deuces, I'm gonna be quiet and holler at y'all in a year when I drop the sequel to this book. So, my book, Everybody Can't Go, pre sales actually have just launched. Depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching this way later, just go ahead to the site and order the book. But the book that became the brand, Everybody Can't Go, is available for pre sale now. And I also have the updated and expanded Write the Vision Journal available on my website as well and Amazon for people who would like a guided manifestation journal and it takes you through the things that I had to ask myself as I started to build out what does my dream life look like and for me to spend that time with me to think about what do I actually want. And at our website, you can check out anywhere where you will see me speaking. I do pop up on other podcasts from time to time, speaking engagements around the U.S. And into South America at this point. So we have speaking engagements lined up for this year. You can catch me at several conferences. Some events are private. And you can also find me on social media on TikTok at Everybody Can't Go LLC. You can always see what's happening over there. Of course, on YouTube to tune into the Everybody Can't Go Convos podcast. And anything else that we have going, you can find on www.everybodycg.com.
Wow. You let me again, you lead so well because I was gonna go right into your social media stuff and you went right on, took care of that for me. I appreciate that because that makes my job so much easier. But like I said, to start, and when we talked at Podfest, that I love the concept of what you're doing because it's something that I had thoughts about, but I never. I guess I understood it, but I'm still trying to find ways to still bring people along, even though some everybody can't go. And I'm starting to get to a place where I truly understand what that means. And you know, it's like I said, it's difficult to set those boundaries, especially when you didn't have them to start with, and for people to see those boundaries. I think that's probably one of the biggest shocks for people in this is that you have them and people are actually seeing them. Like I said, for me, hearing your story when we talked, that just it resonated so much with me, and it's a joy to know that there's information out there to help people who are struggling to accept that and to even understand how they're going through that process. Because a lot of stuff we go through, there's no guidebook. It's all you get out there and you have to figure it out with your situation. But knowledge from anyone's situation can always help guide us and lead us to making the best version of ourselves.
Yes, very much so, and save you some time while you're doing it. Go ahead and shoot, get to these resources so that what took me 10 years, it ain't got to take you 10 years to get to that level of understanding and learning. Basically, it's like a crash course at you ain't got to think about it for a few months. You just got to tune into an episode and the answer for you right there. So it'll only take you 30 to 60 minutes to figure out what it might have took me 6 to 9 months to figure it out with what to do, how to handle a situation, and different things like that. And any of the things that like I read or learned over time, and some of that stuff I'll be able to tell you, like, look, just go straight to this book and read it. It has everything you need instead of you having to, you asking Chat GTP, but you ain't asking the right questions. You're trying to Google it, but you can't find the right links, or you end up at a scammer page or something like that. We
Wasting
walk
money.
folks through all of that stuff. Yeah. And definitely we have free resources available as well as paid resources when you're ready to take a deeper dive into it with group coaching and one-on-one coaching when you're to that level and you're ready to like really dive into your needs specifically. We have all levels of assistance available.
Well, that's awesome and beautiful to have those resources for people to be able to access easily and for free. But like I said, if you want to go deeper, you know, you have to invest in yourself, people. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, what are you going to invest in? You're the best investment that you can make at all times. So before we get out of here, is there any parting words of advice that you have for the listeners that could help them along just making it through?
Yeah, I would say my biggest piece of advice that's fully encompassing. One, if you're scared to do it, just go ahead and do it scared. And two, if you have a hard time with enforcing those boundaries when everybody can't go with you because there's less space at your next level, make sure that you start by writing out your vision first so that you know exactly where you're going and you're able to more easily tell who can't go with you.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I appreciate you for taking time out of your day to come hang with me and talk about the fact that everyone can't go or everybody can't go. And like I said, I appreciate you, and I'm definitely going to have to pick your brain myself. I'm gonna have to get some personal insights because I
I
see you have
got
a
you.
lot going on, and I like how you explaining things and how you're working things, and that has my mind. I'm trying to stay focused on our conversation, but I'm thinking about okay, she's doing this, so I might talk to her about doing that. So yeah, definitely, we'll definitely have to stay in contact and just like I said, pick your brain and find out what's going on and how you work and everything. Because I think it's a beautiful thing you're doing. I think people will be inspired by what you're doing to help them grow, and that's what we're here for: is to help people grow and become the best versions of themselves. So again, before we go, shout out all your social media so people can reach out and follow you.
All right. So you can follow me, like, subscribe, shoot me a DM on Instagram at Everybody Can't Go, the number two. You can find me on YouTube under Everybody Can't Go Convos, the podcast. And you can also find me on Facebook at Everybody Can't Go and TikTok at Everybody Can't Go LLC. And any of those links, if you're looking for them, you can find them at www.everybodycg.com. And you can follow, subscribe, like everything from there. And if you have any questions or need some assistance, DMs, obviously it's a secret. So I ain't gonna put you on blast. That's if you don't want to drop us a comment under the video. Let us know what you think or topics that you want to talk about, or if there's something that you need advice on, we will take care of that for you on the pod.
Yes. And where can they pre-order the book at one more time?
That's at www.everybodycg.com.
Well, everyone, when you get a chance, check out the podcast. Everybody Can't Go. Go get the book. There's free resources for you to uh, learn how to navigate through some of these difficult times that you may be experiencing as you start to heal and grow. So make sure you take the time out to just like, follow, and learn, because we're all about putting out knowledge for people to be able to grow. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll definitely be getting back with you. And until then, rest your soul. Take time to yourself. Peace.